Okay, so once you have figured out the gridding process, so we've practiced our grids, we've done our kind of crazy face with proportion grids, we've done our landscape grid, we've did our goofy shape grid, and we've colored all those things. That's one angle how we're going to attack our portrait. The other angle, as I told you before, was going to be value. And so when we look at a portrait like this, we're looking at areas that are probably like the darkest areas of the drawing or the photocopy. And we're looking at some of the lightest areas of the photocopy. And then we also want to look at the in-betweens. Everywhere in between. Sometimes everything in between is the hardest part. And so artists practice these values all the time. They practice what's called a value scale. And so when we think about a value scale, we think about shading from a dark to a light. And as we shade to a dark to a light, we get these little tones. And so we'll zoom in on this here a little bit for you so you can see this. Now if we look, this is a 9-step value scale. They usually range between 8 and 10. And so 1 is pure white, and 9 in this one, it happens to be pure black. Okay? And then as you get lighter and lighter and lighter, as you go back to the light, or darker and darker and darker as you head to the dark, you're going to change those values. And if we look, the lights are in this area here. So 1, 2, and 3 would be considered our light values. Okay? Our darks are over here at the 7, 8, 9. And then our halftones are right around this 4, 5, and 6 range. So when you think about doing your own shading, you want to think of, I've got a few lights, a few halftones, and a few darks that I'm working with. So when you look back at your portrait, and we'll zoom in tight on it here, you want to find areas that are going to match those halftones, darks, and lights in your portrait. Okay? Now another way to look at a value scale is you can also, I've seen it where they label each one. So this is pure white, and then you have what's called a highlight, and a light light, a middle light, a dark light, a halftone, a dark halftone, a light shadow, a middle shadow, a dark shadow, then an accent or pure black. So you use these two on the ends as accents, like where it's going to be the darkest, you know, like maybe here. Or like a pure white would be there and there in your accents. And everything else would be either a highlight or a light light or a dark shadow or a middle shadow. And then obviously in between, all these halftones in between are what's happening around everywhere else. Okay? So our first step is going to be making our own value scale. So how do we do that? Well, we're just going to grab a piece of paper. And on this piece of paper, we're going to fold it. I'll zoom out here so you can see it. So we're going to fold this piece of paper 1, time just like this, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. It's going to be tough, but you're going to have to rock 6 back and forth. So you're going to go 6, 6, 6, 6. Then you're going to open it up so it's 6 times in half. You're going to open this up, and we're going to put it vertical like this, up and down. Okay? So we're going to put it vertical just like this. And you're going to see these boxes. And in these boxes, I want you to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're going to see some rows where you fold it. And you just lightly draw on these rows here. Just like this. Now you're going to go down 3 rows, and then you're going to number again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Now, with this, you're going to take your first box right here, this box, and we're going to color it as dark as we can. This is going to be our dark value. So we're actually going to run our dark to light a little bit different. We're going to run our dark on the left and number 8 on the right side. So this is going to be an 8-step value scale. Number 8 is going to be the light. Okay, so let's zoom down on this just a tad so you can see it. There we go. So we're going to try to get this box as dark as we can, and sometimes you get dark, you get another piece of paper and put it underneath of it because the paper gets a little bit lighter. But you want to run this box as dark as you can, just like this. And then when you get ready for box 2, we're going to do the same thing but try to get a little bit lighter. And we've got to fill this whole box up. The nice thing with doing this from the dark to the light is that you can let your pencil go into the dark to the next one and it's not really going to affect it or bother it. But we need to take this up a little bit more of a notch as far as darkness goes. Then we're going to go a little bit lighter here. So now we're finishing up our dark tones here, and we'll call these probably your half tones. And then we're going to get a little bit lighter. Yet again. And lighter. So we definitely want to see a change of value in each, but all the way to white. Okay, so I can go back and touch this up. This looks like this one could be a little bit darker. I could probably darken this one up a little bit more too. Okay, so you're going to do 3 rows in pencil. Then you see our next numbers. And in these 3, I want you to use 3 different colored pencils. Okay? So to give you an example what this is going to look like when you're done, and really this is just still practice of your value, okay? You're going to do it like this. Here's an example that has 3 done in pencil, and then your numbers, and 3 done with 3 different colored pencils. Okay? We'll zoom down here on the pencils. You can see where they tried different things. So you don't want to do all this at once. This should be 3 separate tries. And you can see they've done 3 separate value scales. And then here again with your 3 different colors, 3 different value scales. Okay, so that is how you do your value scale. And again, ours is just an 8-step value scale. So you fold your paper 6 times in half, open it up, set it up. If you need to watch the video again to figure it out, go ahead and do it. So good luck with this. And our next step is adding value on shapes.